Breaking news on 23 ABC News at 5. As crews get a handle on the massive Erskine fire, another fire forcing a Kern County community to evacuate.
We are live from Bear Valley Springs. Complete team coverage ahead on 23 ABC News at 5, which starts now.
23 ABC News is brought to you in high definition by BMW of Bakersfield. Experience the design and driving dynamics of the first ever BMW 2 Series. Now, with the latest breaking news, live reports from around Kern County, and your latest weather with Storm Shield Doppler. From the KERO studios in downtown Bakersfield, this is 23 ABC News.
And we are following breaking news out of Bear Valley Springs tonight. Evacuations in place as a wildfire moves quickly through that area.
Bear Valley Springs is just east of Arvin. You're looking at a map right here, and you can also see that it's just west of Tehachapi. The fire started around 2 o'clock. That's when CHP reporting that they got the call. And almost immediately, fire crews went into the area calling for recommended evacuations in that area. And fire officials say that there are about 80 to 100 homes there now that are being threatened by this fire. The fire is now reaching at about 200 to 300 acres so far.
And we have live 23 ABC team coverage from that fire. We're going to check in with Laura Acevedo near where that fire started, and Andrew Worth, who's in the evacuation area. Laura, first tell us
Jackie, and this is where the fire started. So if you take a look directly behind me, we are on Highway 233, and right now this fire has burned about 300 acres. Now fire officials say that the call came in at about 3:01, and it has quickly moved up the hill. As you can see, the very heavy smoke that still remains here, and we have seen helicopters going back down into the valley and heading back up to the mountain to drop water and fire retardant on this blaze. Now, right now, all evacuees from Bear Valley Springs are being sent to Jacobson Middle School, and at this time, fire officials say there is no percentage of containment right now. They are just working to very quickly put out this fire and make sure that it doesn't get in the way of any structures. Now, I will have live updates throughout the show, but for now, reporting live near Arvin, Laura Acevedo, 23 ABC News.
All right, we're going to check in with Andrew Worth, who's live in Bear Valley Springs, where all afternoon we've been talking about this evacuation order, recommended evacuation order in effect there. Andrew, what are you hearing from residents and what are you seeing?
Tim, as you just said, it is just recommended right now, but police and volunteer fire crews and fire department, Kern County, they are frantically going through every neighborhood, possibly trying to talk to any of the neighbors. And I'll step out of the shot here as you can see the smoke just behind me. And this smoke is coming up the hill, and that's why these homes are being evacuated, because the fire, if it hits this hill, we've been told that things could be very bad. There's probably, I've heard about 4 or 5 planes go overhead so far as they're frantically trying to get this fire out before it hits the hill. But the cloud of smoke that I can see just off of this back patio here of a house, it's getting darker. It's not white smoke, it's more of a dark gray smoke, sort of what we saw with the Erskine fire that first night that it broke out last week. But many of the homes here, we're on Medicine Bow Road right now in Bear Valley Springs on the far west side, and all of these homes right now have been evacuated. There seems to be nobody home that we've passed. There haven't been any cars in the driveways, but we'll keep you up to date on turn223.com and our mobile and tablet app. Live in Bear Valley Springs, Andrew Worth, 23 ABC.
And I'm Cassie Carlisle here in the Live Center. Now we have a time lapse of this fire starting. As you can see, you're going to look right here, and it just explodes up that mountainside. Absolutely incredible. Now looking at some of those photos, like Andrew was saying, there's a lot of people on the other side of that hill. You can see that smoke coming through the area. There's even pictures like this that have red tinges from those air tankers going over, dropping the fire retardant there. There are some people that are driving by, seeing it when it first comes through, and you can see that big, giant burn scar, and that was again from earlier today. Now with this fire, again, so many have the Erskine fire on their mind. So many are concerned, sending prayers up to people who are in that area. So many tagging their friends on Facebook and on Twitter, asking them to evacuate and get out. So far, this is what we're seeing in the Live Center, and I'll keep you up to date. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Cassie. And right now we are learning that we are making contact with somebody who lives in the Bear Valley Springs area.
All right, we are going to work on getting Janie White, if she can hear us right now. She's in that area and called us just a little while ago and letting us know about what she's seeing. She is, of course, in that recommended evacuation list of where we just saw Andrew was. Right. Janie, do we have you on the line? All right, it appears we do not have her on the line right now. But we want to check in now with Jesus Lopez, who is tracking the weather conditions near Arvin and also in Bear Valley Springs. Jesus, what are you seeing, and any effort that this could help firefighters or hinder them?
Well, right now conditions are not favorable for firefighters because humidity index is around the 20%. It's very low. It's dry out there. Now also temperatures are not helping. It's hot. It's in the 90s up in the higher terrain, and wind speeds are blowing from the south-southwest at around 12 miles per hour. Here's the wind direction, so that means if the fire keeps going upslope, it will spread in this direction. That means that also the smoke is also traveling to the north, so by Bealville, you can see some smoke already. Well, that's because the wind is pushing it that way to the north. And notice how we see those light blue colors. Those are light winds, but the darker shade that we see right now in the higher terrain, those are stronger winds. So that means that we can see gusts of up to 20 miles per hour, and that's not good because it helps spread out the fire. Here's a contour of the temperatures right now. In the surface, they're in the triple digits. In the foothills, in the upper 90s, and in the higher elevations, temperatures are in the 90s, low 90s. So that means it's hot, and those are ingredients for the fire. Right now, we do have a fire warning in effect for this area that we see right here, where the fire is actually burning. So again, we have to be very cautious out there. I'll have more in your current Cast 23. Now back to you, Tim and Jackie.
All right, thanks, Jesus. Of course, we are continuing to monitor this. This is a situation that has grown. Of course, you're looking at now the Erskine fire. Information about that, which has been on the minds of so many people in the Bear Valley Springs area just because of this fire. Of course, the Erskine fire, 80% contained, and that fire burning more than 47,000 acres since it started last week. But again, if you are just joining us here, Bear Valley Springs under recommended evacuations, several hundred homes included in that, as firefighters trying to get the upper hand on this deer fire.
Right, and what recommended evacuations means, according to fire crews in the area, is that this is an imminent threat that is being posed to those homes there in the Bear Valley area, and that the fire could very most likely spread to that Bear Valley Springs area. And so they are recommending that people get out right now as soon as possible. We're taking you live to the scene. You can see the smoke trailing upwards. This is in the area of Highway 223, and that road is actually closed right near Arvin and Highway 58 because the firefighters are working to get a handle on this fire. We have heard reports that there are about 80 to 100 homes in the area that are affected by these recommended evacuations to get out as soon as possible. All of this starting at about 2 to 3 o'clock, somewhere in there.
And if we can put up our other live picture, if we could toggle between these two, this is of the other vantage point on the other side of 223 where this fire started. And now you can see burning aggressively. Is this is the shot we have with Paul, is that correct, folks in the booth? Okay, so this is, we are looking from where the fire started, presumably up in the hills there, and you can see just why firefighters are so concerned with this right now is because this is moving uphill towards Bear Valley Springs, of course an area populated by a few thousand people. We saw from Andrew that some people have obviously made their way out, heeding the warnings, but you can see flames charred the immediate foreground here. That's one hill, it's jumped to that hill, and as we can see on these wide shots, it only has to jump over a few more hurdles before it reaches the community of Bear Valley Springs, and that's the concern tonight.
Yeah, and this is spreading very quickly. As soon as this started, again, we're hearing reports somewhere between 2 and 3 o'clock. It started at about 20 acres, and now we're getting reports of up to 300 acres, and that's just a matter of a couple hours. And so right now it sounds as though we're going to go back out live.
Laura Acevedo standing by with the Kern County Fire Department with the most up-to-date information. Laura, what do we know about the fire and also the evacuation orders?
Yeah, Tim and Jackie, once again, we are here where the fire started, and joining me now is an engineer from the Kern County Fire Department, Phil Neufeld. Can you tell me what the latest is on the evacuations on the side of the fire?
Well, we've requested that people get off of the mountain that's going to be impacted by the fire. Specifically, Owl Court and Deer Trail are very close in proximity, and they could be heavily impacted. The Bear Valley Police Department is taking care of the evacuation plan, and they're asking people to go to the Jameson school for the evacuation center, and we're trying to get it orderly. I would suggest if people can see the smoke, And if they can see the flames or anything like that, head out. Get your loved ones, get your pets, get in the car, head out. Try to make it orderly so that if they won't be impacted by the people trying to leave, and they won't be blocking people from getting out.
Now, can you talk to me about how quickly this fire has moved up the hill and starting to threaten what's on the other side?
Well, the call came in at 3:01, and it didn't take long. I had to drive from Delano because I was up in that area trying to get here, and before I could get here, the thing had grown to 200 acres easily.
And is that the latest 200 acres, or do you have an updated number for it?
Actually, our estimate right now is 300 acres. So it's a pretty big one, and it's pretty nasty. We've got terrain, fuel, wind, weather, all working against us right now.
Now, talk about these winds that we're feeling. I mean, very obvious, strong winds. How does this affect your job as firefighters in containing this?
Well, it doesn't take much to really move a fire with wind. But also the terrain, it's going uphill. We've got a lot of light fuels that's going to carry it. We have a lot of trees up there with beetle damage, and they're tender dry, so we want to try and keep the fire out of there. And of course, it doesn't take much of a breath of wind, and this is hot wind. So we're trying to work as fast as we can and get as much as we can. Right now we have about 80 people on scene. We've ordered 200 more. And we have all kinds of aircraft coming in. We have some aircraft working right now, and we've requested tankers and a lot of other air resources.
Are you guys moving anybody from the Erskine Fire out to help out here?
Indeed. There are some people en route right now, and there have been some hand crews that have come from the Erskine Fire. They were supposed to be resting out there, and they've come, so they're working very hard. They're really stretching it.
Now, can you talk to me about containment? Do you guys have any handle on this fire right now?
Right now, we don't have an estimate on containment. With that active head there, we've got to try and stop the progression, and we should have some containment very shortly.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. So Tim and Jackie, right now, like this engineer with the Kern County Fire Department just said, very, very busy few days for these firefighters. As you heard, there are some moving that are from the Erskine Fire over to here to now fight this fire and protect the structures in this community. I will have some new information in just a couple of minutes. For now, I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Laura, thanks. Certainly sums it up when they say they're supposed to be resting, but they're willing to divert and get to this fire. We want to go to Mark Christian, our chief photographer. He's standing by where the roads have been shut down to 223 heading into Arvin. Mark, what are you seeing? You have a good vantage point. You have a wide shot. And what's your vantage point and what are you seeing?
Exactly, Tim. I was heading up towards the 223 for the road shutdown, and I saw this shot. I pulled off here at Comanche and saw the great vantage point of the smoke as it's heading up the mountain. And as Jesus said, the smoke is heading up toward Bear Valley Springs. And so, as you can see, the plumes of smoke, I've been here for about 20 minutes, and the smoke just keeps going and going. Now, from my vantage point, I have not seen any air crews or any firefighters from this angle because I'm still about maybe 20 miles away, but as you can see from the pictures, it's just pretty intense with the smoke. As I was pulled off here at the side of the road, one person pulled up and said, you can't believe it. You know, here we just finished with the Erskine Fire and here we go again. So just one of those things where it's the season, the smoke's blowing, and time to be careful.
Absolutely, Mark, and that really is the headline here. It's here we go again. Firefighters who have been battling the Erskine Fire now just a day over a week in have now diverted to this fire, and certainly as Mark pushes in here, you can see just the severity of this. This is something that the worst case scenario, of course, we are going to see this as these tender dry conditions are in place. And, of course, winds today not helping out this firefight. No, and as we have heard from Jesus Lopez, our meteorologist here, he's been saying that this wind is moving southwest. So it's near Highway 223, and it's moving southwest towards the Bear Valley Springs area. And that's why those recommended evacuations are in place for that area. We are getting reports that there are about 80 to 100 homes in that area. Many people have already evacuated, according to our crews in the field. Andrew Worth has been out there, and he's been telling us that it seems as though he hasn't seen very many people because they are heeding this advice. They are leaving the area. They are getting out of there so that firefighters can tackle this, can take care of it. And we do have Jesus standing by. Jesus, we look at these pictures and we see the smoke just blowing towards the mountain, as Mark said. This is certainly a recipe for disaster.
It is a recipe for disaster, and conditions are not favorable today. We have hot winds, like the firefighter just mentioned. It's windy out there. We have dry conditions, and we have those hot temperatures here in the valley, and we can see those fire danger, especially here where the fire is actually happening. That's where we have that warning. That's because the fire is actually happening right now. And those wind speeds right now, we can see them blowing from the southwest at around 14 miles per hour. That's not good because it helps spread not only the smoke but the fire to the north and parts of the east, because prevailing winds are right now from the west. So part of the fire can go to the east and part of the fire can go to the north. So we have to be in the area of Bear Valley Springs. Now humidity index is around 21%. It's extremely dry, and we can see those temperatures in the valley, triple digits in the foothills, in the almost upper 90s to low hundreds, and then in the higher terrain, those temperatures are in the low 90s. So if that fire keeps going uphill, that fire could spread faster, not only because of the winds are blowing faster in the higher terrain, those temperatures are also warm. Now back to you guys.
I'm Cassie Carlisle here in the Live Center. Again, this is the same view that Mark is seeing. A lot of people on social media talking about how scary this is because it's, again, here we go again. And we also, this is on the eve of 4th of July, which is known for fireworks. It's a firefighter's worst nightmare here as we have two big giant fires and we have the weekend of fireworks coming up. Now, again, we're talking about those evacuations. So with the Ready Kern Alert, if you cannot evacuate, if you need assistance, you can call this number, 1-800-277-7866. to get help getting out of that area to clear it for firefighters so that they can go in there and do their job. Now, that is the latest here in the Live Center. Back to you.
All right, Cassie, thanks. And we were talking earlier from Mark's vantage point. We have Andrew Worth, who is in Bear Valley Springs right now, and we want to go to him.
Right, Andrew, talk to us. You have seen people, you haven't seen people because you're getting the idea that these people have already left the Bear Valley Springs area.
Yes, Tim and Jackie, it was evidently clear on the way up the mountain. I just got through the 58 and the 223 area. There were many cars, probably a couple hundred cars heading out of this area, with people evacuating several RVs and motorhomes, making sure that they got out of the way. But here at this property, as you can see behind me, hopefully you can see the cloud of smoke. Is one property over there, a little more spread out up here. One property over is now looked like it's consumed by smoke, as that wind that Jesus keeps talking about seems to be blowing right towards these hills, and that's exactly why there are evacuations here, because that smoke is headed there, and the fire could possibly be headed there. And as you can see, there's a lot of dry brush, and this property is covered in that dry brush. Everywhere around me, there's a lot of dead grass, a lot of pine needles that have browned and been dead. And so a lot of trees, a lot of fuel for the fire if it does get its way up the hill. And that's what many of the evacuees are worried about. Many of the fire department, whether they're volunteer or hired, many of them are worried about and got these people out because they don't want to see anything kind of like the Erskine fire. They don't want to see it take off and people be in danger. So that's why they've continued to go through neighborhoods. They had horns, they had their car horns honking, making sure people were getting out. They were screaming and yelling, checking every property once, twice, three times over to make sure nobody else was there.
I just want to ask you a quick question. So you're in Bear Valley Springs. I want to make this very clear to our audience. You are not in any danger where you are right now. Talk to us a little bit about where you are in relation to all of this.
No, currently I'm not in any danger at the moment. If I were, I would not be on air right now. But the fire is still down the hill. It looks like a couple miles away as there's some brown, thick white and brown smoke behind me. But no, I'm not currently in danger.
Can you zoom in at all to where we're looking, maybe through those tree lines, just to give us a quick vantage point? As
yes.
In just a few moments, we're going to head to break here and continue our coverage. But we want to give you the vantage point. Again, we have this fire completely covered from our views on the valley floor, 2 road closures. And this live picture right now from Andrew Worth, who is in the Bear Valley Springs neighborhood, looking west towards Arvin. As you can see there, that smoky haze filling those the shot here, as recommended evacuations in place right now for Bear Valley Springs. Our coverage of this deer fire continues on 23 ABC in just a few moments.
Joe? Yeah. So Kern County Fire just tweeted that the fire is now 500. That's the only new thing I have. Yes, and we are out here right where the fire started at about 3:01 this afternoon. We are along Highway 223, which is just south of Highway 58. Now, if you take a look behind me, we're going to try and show you what the smoke looks like where we are now. And Kern County Fire crews just confirmed about a minute or two ago that this fire has now grown to 500 acres. And what they're saying is that it is approaching the ridge line. And as we heard earlier from the engineer with the Kern County Fire Department, if this fire starts to come down the hill towards Bear Valley Springs, that's where it is going to get very dangerous for those homes in the area and those that have evacuated the area. So right now the fire is now at 500 acres, and fire crews, even from the Erskine fire, moving over to this area to now fight this new fire. And we are dealing with very, very dry conditions and very strong wind gusts that come every couple of minutes or so. So firefighters really battling against time to make sure this is all contained before any structures are damaged. Reporting near Arvin, Laura Acevedo, back to you guys.
Laura, thanks. And we're efforting that phone interview with Janie White, who is in Bear Valley Springs area. We now have her on the line. And Janie, thank you for joining us. What are you seeing from where you're at? And we talked on the phone earlier. You are under those recommended evacuations. Is that correct?
No, we're actually on the edge of it. We're just a little east of Arrow Court, where the end of the evacuations go. We are on our deck overlooks Bear Mountain, and I would say a large percentage of it, the fire's grown a lot, and a large percentage of it is in smoke right now.
So, Janie, this is Jackie Ochoa here joining you. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on in your head right now. What are you experiencing? I mean, you say that you're just outside the recommended evacuation area, but, I mean, as we're seeing this fire grow and grow by the hundreds of acres, you know, what's going through your mind?
Well, we're in the process of packing things up that we might need and putting them in our motorhome and having suitcases ready to go, so that the minute we get a call from the fire department to leave this area, we will definitely leave.
And Janie, you've probably lived up in this community for a long time, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, we've been here for almost 14 years.
And this is something that you've probably thought about, you've been prepared for, but of course today wasn't expecting. I would be curious to know if any of your neighbors, you have watched what's been going on with this Erskine fire and really taken note of that and perhaps applying any of that knowledge that we've been learning over the last week of that fire behavior and now applying it to today. Is that going through your mind?
Well, we were out of town. My grandson was having heart surgery, and we just got back a couple of days ago, but we definitely were watching it from Missouri and seeing the Erskine fire. You know, we believe God's in control, and He's going to take care of us one way or the other, and we'll just do whatever we're supposed to do.
Yeah, and Janie, our hearts go out to you. My goodness, your husband just having heart surgery. But what is the atmosphere like out there with you and your neighbors? How are you guys feeling? What is the overall sentiment as you are seeing these dramatic images play out right in your backyard?
Well, actually, our neighbors are, all of our neighbors have done a very good job of doing brush clearance and following the county's recommendation. I do see a neighbor down the hill who's currently going out and doing even more. And so, we've really cleared the area, and we just have to hope that we have done a good enough job and trust that the firefighters are going to do their job and stay out of their way.
And have you seen any firefighters in your neighborhood? Have you?
No. Now, actually, we look out over Bear Mountain, so we can see down to Bakersfield on the west, and we can see Bear Mountain in front of us. And like I said, it's just a plume of smoke coming up. We don't see any flames yet.
So talk to me a little bit about, I guess, can you sense that something's in the air? You know, can you, I guess, where you are, and again, I know you're not under those recommended evacuations, but what can you see, smell from this fire?
Right now, we've seen several planes going over doing airdrops, but because it's on the other side of the ridge, if it crosses the ridge, then we won't even wait for the evacuation because it'll go fast. We have a lot of dead trees at the top of the mountain.
So it sounds like, Jamie, there's one ridge in front of you guys separating between where you're at and where the fire's burning?
The fire is on the other side of the ridge, and if it breaks the ridge, then it will actually get into Bear Valley even more so.
Okay. Of course, that's firefighters that are on the front lines right now joining us in Bear Valley Springs. Janie, we appreciate your time. We want you to stay safe tonight, and of course, if you have to get out, please do so, and do so carefully.
Oh, most definitely.
All right, and that was, of course, a good perspective from someone up there. Just it's kind of it's a waiting game, right? So if you're not in that evacuation area, she's close. What do you do? And so these people, she mentioned her and her husband, they're packing up, they're getting ready, they're waiting until that word comes. But of course, this is new life and the new routine for so many people in our mountain communities, especially as we head into this fire season.
I mean, we are clearly already there with the Erskine fire. These conditions are hot. The wind is blowing fiercely out there. The conditions are just perfect for something like this to happen. And as you know, we've been learning, the Erskine fire, they're pulling firefighters off of that fire who should be resting, and they're putting them on this fire. So you know, a lot is happening in Kern County right now. A lot is developing, and right now we're getting word that there's an update from our reporter out in the live center. She's been tracking developments on social media. Cassie Carlisle, are you with us?
Yes, I'm right here. Now let's talk a little bit about the fuel and how this fire was able to spread so quickly. Now we've been doing a lot of stories over the spring leading up to this serious summer fire season, and this is the problem. Remember El Nino with all of those rainstorms that we had? This yellow area used to be grass, dried up really quickly with the heat that we've had, and now it's what firefighters call tinder, and that is why it has grown so fast in this area. So we just wanted to give you a little explanation on how this fuel has fueled the fire to make it so big so quickly. Back to you guys.
Continue to watch this fire online, turn to23.com. We're going to take a break. World News is coming up next. We'll see you after that at 6 o'clock with the latest from this deer fire. But I'll change up the script.
After he does his live shot, if anybody's able to move, we're going to move you guys a little bit away from right here. Remember, you can still see him. Oh, sorry. You know, dude, my offer still stands. We're walking from the firefighter.
Okay.
Pick up the morning with the wheels on.